Well, like, so I'm back again, and I really wish I wasn't back again, but I am. And the reason that I'm back is because I've come across this article. I've got another one up in another tab that I've not read yet, but I've read through this one, and it really is getting to a point now where irritation does not cover it. You know, there's people out there, and to their credit, I can kind of see their point where they say that the powers that be are trying to divide us on racial lines, if not class lines and whatnot. But that's fine. That's all fine and dandy. But even if you go along with that mantra, in the background, this stuff is still occurring. If it's not the anti-racism education being implemented into schools or in the pipeline anyway, whether it's the BLM inspired courses and whatnot that's been implemented into the curriculum, or whether or not it's just the Scottish Government or the Rainbow Unicorn Government talking about ways to rectify so-called racial inequality, if you sit there and you say to yourself, they're trying to divide us on racial lines, we need to come together, that's fine. But in the background, this is occurring. So we have another one on the screen just now from STV, of course, where it says that Scotland's casual racism is as regular as drinking a cup of tea. You can be so close to me, but not see something that I go through every day. Well, this is riveting stuff, and you are going to be in for some bombshells here. She is going to provide you with all of the juicy scoop. I'm telling you, I've never ever heard of somebody having such a harrowing ordeal, such as a Precious Bundu has spent has spent most of her life keeping quiet about the racism she's experienced, and of course, it's riveting stuff's harrowing. I mean, her plight is so severe. As a child growing up in Glasgow, she was told by her parents, behave yourself because you know your skin colour is not the same. So right off the bat, whose fault is that? That she has this mindset? Whether or not she's lying, whether or not she genuinely believes this, irrespective, whose fault is it that she has this belief system, potentially, that she experiences racism everywhere she goes? I presume she's belted and battered by fucking microaggressions everywhere she goes. It's her parents! Her parents have drummed it into her head, presumably. Her parents have told her that she has to behave herself because her skin colour is not the same as the majority. And if her parents felt that way, why did they move to Rainbow Unicorn Land? Why did they move to a majority white country for the time being? Why did they do that? You know, I am sick of hearing immigrants or the children of immigrants growing up in an environment where the parents have told them what to think, and then they decide to spew out their BS and the media lap it up. The lefty media lap it up. So anyway, it says here that the teenager is one of tens of thousands around the world who has felt compelled to speak out about the racism she's experienced in her life, pushed into action following the death of George. This is a terribly articulated article, by the way. Anyway, you know what I mean? The death of George Floyd in the US that sparked global anti-white protests. And I say anti-white because anti-racism is anti-white. I'm not going to sit here and define what anti-racism is here. I've done it a plethora of times before. If you wish to just, if you're new to my channel, feel free to go back through my videos. The point remains the same though. Still to this day, months and months and months later, despite the fact that body cam footage has been released, despite the fact we know that George Floyd would have died irrespective of whether or not the police approached him because he was going to overdose on fentanyl, irrespective of the fact that George Floyd asked to be put on the ground, irrespective of the fact that George Fentanyl Floyd said that he couldn't breathe before he was put on the ground. Oh no. We have to sit here and buy into this BS bogus narrative that blacks are being hunted down by whiteys in fucking America, or white cops in America, and that somehow is able to transcend over to Scotland. I mean, where the fuck do these people get this from? Honest to God. I mean, it says the 46-year-old died in May during an arrest after being restrained by cops in Minneapolis. But he died of an overdose. What has that got to do with anything? And even if he died at the hands of police because of racism, what's that got to do with Scotland? Oh, well, I'm sure Precious Bundu is going to tell us all about it, too. Well, there she is. So it says, Miss Bundu opened up about her experiences after becoming frustrated by people close to her who said that this doesn't happen in Scotland, or that doesn't happen in Scotland. This is another one. Like, these people, honestly, they all repeat the same line. It's really as if they are reading from a script, and it's a script that gets passed between one another whenever it's their time to take to a podium, or it's their time to take to an email to post to STV and whatnot. They all say the same thing. people think that this doesn't happen in Scotland, but it does. You know, it's so cliche at this point. She didn't want to believe she would be subjected to prejudice, but now at 18 years old, she recognises the subtleties of racism that were present throughout her education. The subtleties of racism. So not outright racism, no, the subtleties. Okay, let's hear what fucking Precious Bandu's got to say. Yeah, it says, there were jokes, the subtle nuances, the can I touch your hair? Rather cliche, don't think I believe it, to be honest, you know? And sometimes it almost felt like you were in a zoo. White people crowded around you going, can I touch your hair? Come on. Like, come on. And even if that was true, which I don't think it is, how is that racism? You people cannot just classify everything that you don't like as racism. I mean, is it possible, hypothetically speaking, that because you are a minority, a vague minority at that white people, ethnically Scottish people, haven't seen your kind before, so maybe they were curious? But that's going down a rabbit hole of hypotheticals. I don't believe this. It's bullshit. Anyhow, it gets very frustrating. But then you're just kind of like, oh, okay, because you kind of know that's your place. Like, that's what you do. You're the entertainment. Just fuck off. She said, you can be so close to me, but not see something that I go through every day because it's silent. And for a lot of black people, racism is almost as regular as drinking a cup of tea. So they're not going to wake up every day and tell you, oh, I had a cup of tea this morning, because it happens every day. So deep. I'm not going to do that. Has faced a number of challenges in his career as a vet that he wouldn't have, by the way, if Scotland was so fucking racist. Pardon my French. After studying in Europe and gaining years of experience in England and Wales, he struggled to get a job in Scotland. He was told there may be a communication problem and clients would be unable to ask for him as he has an unusual name. There may be a communication problem. You're not kidding. You're not kidding. Like, there is people that come to this country, or the UK in general, from Africa and whatnot, and even if they can't speak a lick of English, you can't understand them. But, I mean, there's not racist. Whatever. Okay. Mr. Whatever eventually started his own business and now runs a number of veterinary practices in the west of Scotland. But Scotland's still racist. But despite that, he's got his own business. Well, call me blinder. He said, one side of the people want to put me down. They feel I'm not good enough for them or their jobs. But on the other hand, I have got thousands of people who are happy to come. I'm just fucking wet wipe. They don't see my colour. They don't listen to my accent. They come to me because I genuinely believe they think I'm good at my job. Okay. He's also been compelled to speak out about his experiences following the BLM Marxist movement. Of course! Because you've all been empowered. You've all been elevated. You've all got your place to say what the hell you want. I can't say what I want on an open mic. Bar this one. You know? But I'm a ball head away from being deeked off YouTube. These people can run their fucking mouths all day long, and they are backed up by the mainstream media. And not only that, they're endorsing a Marxist movement. Anyhow, instances of racism have been rare for him, but he believes now is the time for change in wider society. He said, for me, everything boils down to one thing. What it is making people feel and think we are not as good as them. Or what is making them think that they are actually better than us. In what way? It's this inferiority complex that you people have. And you know, that's what really irritates me the most, or one of the things that irritates me the most. Their inferiority complex seems to create this political ideology, or it feeds into it anyway. You know what I mean? Nobody at any point has ever said these things to him. He never referenced it. It wasn't quoted in the article I just read. He believes that because of his inferiority complex. But it's Whitey's fault. All our fault. Yeah. Stand the